Well, it seems like ages ago now. Back on April 27th, a band of 19 trekkers left Australia bound for Nepal to take on the Everest Base Camp Challenge on behalf of Momentum Health, as well as hiking to Everest Base Camp, which is, well, it's not exactly a walk in the park. You've got to pace yourself. You've got to be fit. Altitude sickness is an ever-present threat, and it's an achievement just to get to Everest Base Camp. Well, they've done it. Now, their aim was to raise $100,000, but at the time they left here, there was only $20,000 in the kitty. So between then and now, they've managed to raise over $80,000 for Momentum Mental Health, which is an incredible effort. And they made it to Everest Base Camp. They're on their way back now. Yesterday, late morning, caught up with Momentum Health Chairman Chris Black, who's one of the leaders of the trek, somewhere on the way down from Everest Base Camp. And he told me some amazing stories of a truly incredible trip. So tell me, where are you and the rest of the Everest Base Camp trekkers as we speak? Where do we find you?
Currently in a little town called Ferrochet, on the way back down from Everest Base Camp. So I think we left Everest Base Camp Sunday morning. So we're actually on the run back down the hill. So in the middle of the Himalayas, in the middle of nowhere, in a beautiful mountain, snow-capped mountains, really remote spot, just absolutely stunning.
And as I speak to you now, it's 10:30 in Toowoomba. So what time is it over there?
6:13 this morning, David.
Okay.
In the morning.
And is that typically you're sort of finding early starts are a part of the territory on this trip so far, Chris?
Yes, we usually have breakfast about 6:30 in the morning and try and step off by 7:30. We just find that mornings are the clearest, and then the weather blows in normally lunchtime onwards. So if we can get some good miles under our belt in the morning, we feel like we've achieved a bit before the weather drains us in the afternoon a little bit.
And tell me, what are conditions like, or what have they been so far on this trip?
It's can be 4 seasons in a day. So I think we're on the 10th day now. We've had every condition possible, from bright sunny days in shorts and t-shirts through to snow falling, sleet falling, complete whiteouts. And I think Everest Base Camp on Saturday evening was -20. So
Wow.
it's been a really wide-ranging conditions, but it's been something that we'll never forget the experience.
And that's what it's all about. You know, it's not about achieving the perfect conditions. Although, did any of those really appalling conditions strike while you were still doing that day's walking?
Yeah, we had a couple of days. The acclimatisation day in Tangboche, we sort of disappeared up one of the mountains, and the acclimatisation day is a day where we rest low and then try and hike higher, and that gets your body used to being at higher altitude, and then we come back down to sleep. And we are up halfway up the mountain where we were supposed to be going. A big storm blew through, and we sort of bunkered down and realised that probably not a great place to get caught in a whiteout, and started to trek back down. But unfortunately, because of the agenda that we're on, regardless of conditions, whether it's snow, sleet, rain, sunshine, we've got to keep going, and that's part of the challenge, and that's part of the adventure, and that's sort of well and truly brought us together as a much more resilient group when we've got to overcome those additional challenges that we face.
How frightening is it, though, in that situation that you just described? You're basically setting forth, and you really can't see 2 feet in front of you, literally.
Yeah, that was a bit of a unique day because we were by ourselves as well. I didn't feel in any danger at all because we had some local guides and some emergency sort of points that we could sort of rely on. But and at the end of the day, all we had to go was back down the hill, so we shouldn't have got lost. But it's probably more dangerous, and I'll just give you a bit of information around base camp itself, and we got to base camp on Saturday afternoon, and that is just a stunning place. You're in the middle of actually we camped on top of the Khumbu Glacier for the night. So you're moving on a frozen river in your tent, minus 20 degrees, lying in your tent, listening to little avalanches all around you go off, and you're just thinking, geez, I hope there's not a big one. So, from that perspective, it is a dangerous but awe-inspiring place. But we've never really felt in personal danger because of the tour guides and the local Sherpas that we've had here. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal experience.
Describe reaching base camp and describe what's there. I mean, that was the end game. That's what that's what you've named the whole challenge. That's what you set out to achieve, and now you're on your way back. But describe reaching there.
It was a long day. I think we ended up from leaving to getting the last one into camp. It was 11 hours on our feet. And whilst 11 hours is a long time, it was only 11 kilometres. But purely because of the altitude at nearly 5,400 metres, it was literally a shuffle into camp over the rocks and over the Khumbu, alongside the Khumbu Glacier. It was pure emotion, to be honest, David. We got to the Trekker's Point rock, the famous rock with the spray-painted sign on it, and we were really all overcome with emotion. There wasn't a dry eye there. And I think individually, a lot of the trekkers have overcome, illness, stomach bugs. Myself, I've got a bit of a cough and a cold, a chest cold, just from the changeable conditions and the dust and yak dung that's sort of flicked up and around here.
Wow.
So I think that is all very common, but it just made it absolutely a lot more meaningful to arrive to our destination. And on top of that, David, we actually reached our fundraising goal on the Saturday afternoon, just before we got there as well. So to raise $100,000 for Momentum Mental Health, you could see the pride in all of the trekkers' eyes and their faces as they got there. They've overcome their individual and personal challenges, and we got there as a group. So it was extremely emotional, if I can say that in one word.
Can I say a massive congratulations to all of you, because that was a huge figure to reach, and I know that was the end goal. But I mean, all of you must have been thinking, this is not going to be a walk in the park. This is going to be hard to get this amount. So that is unbelievably good.
Yeah, thank you, David. We certainly had our doubts along the way. But again, I think it's just a part journey. And I think as we got closer, probably the people back home realised that it was actually real and we were going, and the struggles that we faced were real, and they got on board. And I think people resonated with the story and the journey and what we're trying to achieve. I think it's a great analogy for what we've done from the Trek's perspective in, setting big goals and then, using a really caring and supportive group, helping each other through just a series of very small steps, which is what we've done to get to a really big goal. And that's Everest Base Camp, but it's also our fundraising target. And that's the journey of Momentum as well, to keep helping people with their mental health journeys.
Yeah, Chris Black, Chairman of Momentum Mental Health, and for some terrific pics of the trek, of Everest Base Camp, of some of the spectacular scenes that the trekkers have witnessed of this amazing trip. Go to Momentum Mental Health's Facebook page and have a look. I'm kicking myself that I haven't had a look earlier, because it just looks like the most incredible trip. And I'm looking forward to possibly having a chat to just a small group of the trekkers when they get back and flesh out just what that experience was like.